The Forest Fairy, Luisa's Love. Long ago it was from time immemorial, good fairies, evil envious people. And of course, as always love. I want to tell you dear readers a fairy tale, from my fairy tale casket. In one village there lived a family, a husband and wife, and a boy named Gorushka, about 6 years old. Maria Matushka doted on her son, and loved her husband, Zinovy. And so, in this family, everything was fine and well. Zinovy helped his wife in everything, carried her in his arms, brought gifts, dreamed of a daughter. "I want our daughter to be like you, my beloved," said the husband, kissing the rosy cheeks of his beloved. The house was built, Zinovy worked tirelessly. Home is everything for the family, but the fairy tale would not be a fairy tale, not from the Kozelny shores. Maria had an envious sister, and from her childhood she did not love her younger sister Maria. Everything that happened in their father's house was bad. She blamed Mary in front of her parents, and the milk is spilled, the jug is broken, the calf has run away to the forest, it's always Maria's fault. And when Maria began to grow up, she became a beautiful girl, and Daria's life did not become at all. She kept thinking how to annihilate her sister from the light. Daria liked the village boy Zinovy. She changed her outfits in front of him, decorated herself with a monist, put on blush, bought beautiful earrings, and he looked at Mary and sent matchmakers to her modest girl on the day of the wedding. Daria swore that she would bring her sister out of the world. The young people, meanwhile, with the help of their parents, built a house, and God gave them a son, Jaeger. Daria, for all this time, on a visit to them did not go, handy nephew never gave. The Forest Fairy, Luisa's Love. Long ago it was from time immemorial, good fairies, evil envious people. And of course, as always love. I want to tell you dear readers a fairy tale, from my fairy tale casket. In one village there lived a family, a husband and wife, and a boy named Gorushka, about 6 years old. Maria Matushka doted on her son, and loved her husband, Zinovy. And so, in this family everything was fine and well. Zinovy helped his wife in everything, carried her in his arms, brought gifts, dreamed of a daughter. "I want our daughter to be like you, my beloved," said the husband, kissing the rosy cheeks of his beloved. The house was built, Zinovy worked tirelessly. Home is everything for the family, but the fairy tale would not be a fairy tale, not from the Kozelny shores. Maria had an envious sister, and from her childhood she did not love her younger sister Maria. Everything that happened in their father's house was bad. She blamed Mary in front of her parents, and the milk is spilled, the jug is broken, the calf has run away to the forest, it's always Maria's fault. And when Maria began to grow up, she became a beautiful girl, and Daria's life did not become at all. She kept thinking how to annihilate her sister from the light. Daria liked the village boy Zinovy. She changed her outfits in front of him, decorated herself with a monist, put on blush, bought beautiful earrings, and he looked at Mary and sent matchmakers to her modest girl on the day of the wedding. Daria swore that she would bring her sister out of the world. The young people, meanwhile, with the help of their parents, built a house, and God gave them a son, Jaeger. Daria, for all this time, on a visit to them did not go, handy nephew never gave. Once Daria heard that somewhere far away there is a sorceress, For the payment that you want to Duken, she collected funds and went, on a long road, dense thicket, to the terrible churchyard where the damned witch lived near the old churchyard. The very evil led Daria there. She could not live, envy was driving her to the bone. Finally, after 3 days, she reached the right place at night. There was no fear, only anger in her eyes, and the obsession with lying sister led Daria. She walked along the edge of the churchyard, and the branches whipped her face, tearing her hands in blood. An owl whooped, and a dog or wolf, somewhere in the churchyard, howled, lighting a candle to look around. Daria saw a woman in a black robe, wearing a hat with a veil over her face. She was sitting right on the grave. Rising from the tombstone, her arms outstretched, she walked straight to Daria. She dropped the candle in fright and retreated over the graves. Daria dropped to her knees and began to kiss the witch's bony hands. "Help me, take Mary away, take her away completely. We have no place together on this earth. And her son Jaeger together with her incinerated. Let Zinovy love me, so that he kissed me warmly, hugged me more tightly than Mary." "You mean, you wicked girl, I can make one man die, turn another into a grave, and turn him into an immovable tree? And Zinovy will love you, only I will take the payment, not gold and silver, but what is most precious to you." "No, I'm a damned witch. It's you little envious people who don't give each other life." "I agree, I will do anything." Sobbing and crawling on the dead ground, Daria said, washing her face with angry tears. At that moment, she looked as good as the witch in the churchyard. With the words she uttered, lightning struck in the sky and lit up the churchyard. "So be it," said the witch, and disappeared for 3 days. All exhausted, Daria got home. Her parents thought when she came home that she had disappeared somewhere, and she showed up almost a week later, covered in dirt and blood. She lay there for 3 days. They took her out, they gave her tea. On the 4th day, she blushed, took on her former appearance. Only on the 5th day, sadness came to the parents' house, which greatly pleased Daria. Maria, together with Jaeger, went to the forest for mushrooms, berries. In the forest, Jaeger, running, got lost. "No matter how much I searched, Maria did not find it." He responded to his mother's screams later, and disappeared. Maria, all in tears, ran to Zinovy in torn clothes. "My heart felt, our happiness will not be long, Zinovy. Stop it!" she screamed, thrashing around in agony on the bed. Even Daria, with her parents, came to help find Jaeger. People gathered, all with torches, looking for Jaeger in the forest. Daria stayed in her sister's house, as if to take care of her. In fact, she was not going to take care of her sister, she wanted to admire her sister's mountain. "Daria, give me some water to drink," Maria Kormaknaya whispered. "I won't give you any water, Maria, you've ruined my happiness. Die quickly, your sucker Egarushka is gone, my Job." "What did I do to you, Daria?" "My Egarushka, a little child who is not reasonable, what is he guilty of?" "I'm tired of looking at your love with Zinovy. My love will be, my love will be. You wanted my love, so take it, but give me back my son." Late mother came to her senses. "I do not need your son, a henchman to run around the house." Maria burst into tears, and Daria laughed angrily, sipping tea with bagels. All night, Zinovy with neighbors, Parents searched for Jaeger all the forest, the river went around, but they did not find their son. Tired Zinovy, with his parents, came to the house. Seeing them, Daria with tears threw herself on the chest to Zinovy, began to cry and wail whether she really cares about him. Zinovy glared at his recently beloved wife and shouted, "It's your fault, Maria, that your son disappeared. I hate you." "Zinovy, I'm sorry, I'm not guilty, I'm sorry, my beloved." With that, she closed her beautiful eyes and died instantly. Parents were killed for the disappearance of their grandson, and the death of their beloved daughter. They buried it under a birch tree that was planted near the grave. Zinovy, as if he had been replaced at a funeral, had not been there for 40 days already, and Daria, a shifty and rude woman, lived in the house as a wife. Previously, people came into the house, and now, there was a careless, evil and greedy Daria. I quarreled with all the neighbors. People began to go around the house. In the very depths of the forest, under an old oak tree, there lived a forest fairy. She had a little girl, Louise, who she found quite a baby in the forest. Probably someone left their sin under a stump. Louise grew up an obedient child and called the fairy mother. It was only the entrance to the fairy's underground palace under the oak tree, hidden from the human eye. But in fact there was a whole castle under the ground, invisible to the human eye. "No, don't take her away from me!" I screamed in fright. "She's mine!" The witch screamed in a terrible voice. "You gave it to me many years ago yourself, for my help to you. So, I came for a debt." With these words, she grabbed the girl in her arms, glared at Daria angrily and disappeared. Just as the door slammed, there was thunder, and she heard the words, "So be it." Lying on the bed, disheveled Daria, looking at the ceiling with mad eyes. "Here is the payment for witchcraft," the daughter herself gave the witch. It can be seen that the truth is told on someone else's not happiness. Happiness cannot be built. In the morning, Zinovy arrived, learned that his wife had given birth to a dead daughter without him and buried him with a drink. And then he left Daria altogether and went to live with Shinkarka. Daria grieved, and then Nick packed up and left. Then he didn't see her in the village anymore. The house was dilapidated, the shutters and doors were askew and fallen off, only black cats ran around at night and dogs howled. And meanwhile, Louise, in the forest with the fairy, grew up, became a stately beauty, and the maple became tall and slender. She no longer watered it, it grew by itself. One day, sitting at his place, she fell asleep and had a wonderful dream, whether it was not a maple tree at all, but an enchanted guy. When she was asleep, the maple tree stroked her hair with its leaves as she slept. He bent low with his branches over the girl. And through the leaves you could see the image of a beautiful guy. This was the son of Maria, who grew up Yegorushka. When Louise woke up from her dream, she went home to the fairy's house and told her about the dream. The fairy listened to her and said, "You saw the truth in your dream, my daughter. So disenchanted, mother. I can't do it, my daughter. But you can do everything, mother. This, I can help the forest, the animals of the forest and the birds, and only love for him will disenchant him. A green tree, but soulless." The girl was sad. She began to feel sorry for the guy, but she did not know how to help. She still went to the maple tree, and once she lay down and pretended to sleep. Looking out from the branches of the maple tree, the head of a handsome guy appeared. He began to stroke her hair with leaves. She caught herself and kissed him on the cheek. His cheek turned pink, and the guy hid again, in the leaves. A few days passed, and again Louise came to the maple tree, and again when he bent down to kiss it, the other cheek turned pink, and he hid in the branches of the maple tree. Well, Louise, it's your time to go to the people. There's nothing else for you to do in the forest. Let you have a good life, work on the land, love each other, and you will have everything. She took a sprig of gold from the trunk and gave it to Louise. Take Luisa and go to the river bank and throw her into the clearing, and you'll see for yourself. They thanked the fairy and went to the river hand in hand. The sun shone, the birds sang songs and pointed out the way. They came to the river in a clearing. Louise threw a twig. In an instant the house appeared, a whole mansion in the house that was just not there. A rich dowry fairy gave for a daughter. The whole village was at the wedding of Louisa and Jaeger. Maria's old mother, at their invitation, moved into the house with them. She will be waiting for her great-grandchildren. They went to the churchyard to their mother's young people. They would bow to Mary. She was not guilty of anything. She loved her son Jaegerushki. The young people began to live, to help good people. I am a messenger of fairy tales. I close the casket of this fairy tale. Did you like the fairy tale? Readers will judge. Maybe the fairy tale casket will have to be opened again. In a good day and a good hour, I told a fairy tale for you. For good, answer with good. Do not forget my instructive fairy tale. I woke up one morning. She had a terrible dream, whether the loggers want to cut down a maple tree. Mother, what can I do? They will destroy my maple tree, and I love it. What can I say to my daughter? It's time to go to sleep, hurry up. Louise ran headlong to the maple tree. He stood sullen, surrounded by loggers about to cut him down. The wind began to blow, and Louise ran up to the maple tree and put her arms around it. The lumberjacks looked at the unknown girl with bewilderment. What are you, a girl, in the forest of trees, love a lot, what you want, and this maple hinders the path. They began to pull the girl away from the maple, and then she began to cry, and drops fell on the bark of the maple. 1, 2, 3. The maple tree turned green, the bark parted, and a guy emerged from the branches. Louise looked at him, blushed and ran away, caught up with her boyfriend. You loved me when you were a tree, heartless, watered, nursed, read fairy tales. You have disenchanted me, you have delivered me from the evil spell of the sorceress with love. Love now, in the image when you became a man. He hugged and kissed the girl. The loggers just stood there with their mouths open. This is later, people will write songs about their love. Hand in hand they went to the fairy mother for a blessing.